Hello everyone. It's me, Steve, Comedy with Steve. This is going to be my first video on my gaming channel.
And this is going to be another video on my channel, starting off a series of game reviews.
You can find his channel in the description of my video.
And you can find Steve's channel in the description of my video.
That's how this is going to work out. So, sit back, enjoy. We're going to use this time to talk about Breath of the Wild as much as we can.
Okay, so first thing we have on the list, we're going to be talking about the massive open world that Breath of the Wild has to offer.
Steve,
what was your opinion on this open world?
Honestly, I think it was a wonderful mechanic, and it really let me do certain parts before others. If I wanted to, do one dungeon before the other, I could. If I felt like one was too hard, I could skip it for that time and do something else until I get
really
better.
Like this. This is one of my first open world games. Actually, probably my first open world game, and I really enjoyed playing it. It was like the open world. At first, it was a bit like, whoa, there's a lot for me to do here. But like after you get into it and you have good enough gear, like it kind of does restrict you in a way. Like you can't just go to the desert right away, or else you'll just die.
They do give you reasons why you should or shouldn't,
Like,
but it's not like they're stopping
you. I feel like they kind of bottleneck you, where you have to start with Divine Beast Ruta, I'm pretty sure. The elephant one.
It's the
Mipho.
simplest, most simple.
I feel like they limit you to have to start with that one, just because like all the other ones you need to buy an outfit with rupees or tonic with rupees.
Yeah.
If you want to go to it.
Exactly.
So you kind of have to start with that one, and it's the closest. Like if you don't have a horse right at the start of the game.
You have to if you would like to succeed.
Yeah, unless you want to unless you want to farm rupees for like a year.
Which of course you can.
You can, because it's a giant open world, but like, would you really want to is the question.
Exactly. That's what they were going with.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
No, I just think it was pretty great how open it was, and that's kind of the first time any game really has experimented with like a completely open, like even other open world games like Grand Theft Auto or
They just
Red Dead
didn't succeed as
Redemption 2.
well.
No, they succeeded in making a great open world, but this was the first truly open world game where you could go anywhere you wanted to, and I also think it has something to do with how those games are made, because like you can't just like have GTA where you can go anywhere and do anything you want right away, in no particular order. It just wouldn't make sense.
Exactly.
And that leads us into the next reason, is because those games had a story. Breath of the Wild story, however, well, it didn't really have any story.
Steve.
I mean, in terms, it's because it goes on off of a basic Zelda formula, with the dungeons and saving Zelda and all that. But I think it does it in one of the best ways by making it so instead of Ganon kidnapping Zelda, Zelda's doing that on her own will. She's there too.
Yeah, that really put a twist on it.
Yeah.
Normally, Ganon is like, okay, I'm just gonna take Zelda. In this game, it was different. She was kind of just standing there so she could fight Ganon, which I thought was pretty cool. That was different
it was
than every other Zelda game, pretty much.
and that made it
And
more
then
enjoyable.
Spirit tracks, but nobody really cares about Spirit tracks.
That's subjective, but I have to agree.
I don't think anybody really liked Spirit tracks.
It's a different game. I'll give it that.
It's Thomas the Tank Engine meets Legend of Zelda.
That's another way of saying it.
I think the story is like really where it was lacking, because they wanted to create this open world. They couldn't focus on a story because.
But at least it's
like
there.
With say Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, which is one of my favorite games of all time. They really focused on the story, but that limited how how in Breath of the Wild you can go and do any of the story missions right from the start.
Exactly.
You can conquer any of the Divine Beasts before even meeting with Impa. I think, yeah, it was
Impa.
You can not even visit Count Rico Village and you can beat the entire game.
Exactly.
Like, that's how open it is, whereas with Red Dead Redemption 2, they focused more on the narrative, and that limited them because of how crazy the story is. You can't just like go and do one mission where you you can't do the mission where you fight the Pinkertons at the end before you do the mission where you do the bar fight in Valentine, because that just wouldn't work chronologically, right? It just doesn't make sense. So in that way, Breath of the Wild was limited on how good the story could be, right?
Yes,
And,
I agree.
Yeah, the dungeon formula, like they really changed it in this. Dungeons were also open world. It wasn't a linear path. You go into one room, you figure out how to get past it, you go on the next, and that brings us to the next part, which is the Divine Beasts. And I think they were good. Right, it was very different than the other Zelda dungeons, and I think the 3D map feature where you could alter the Divine Beast was pretty cool. But I don't think, I think a lot of people, I personally enjoyed it, but I think a lot of people didn't enjoy that mechanic. Like with the Divine Beast, I think they would just rather have a linear dungeon. Right, I think
It felt more organized in some opinion.
I think a lot of people disliked the Divine Beasts. And I also think that in Master Mode they could have made it where the Divine Beasts didn't take away half of Ganon's health. They just gave you the powers, but they didn't take away his health.
Right.
Right. I think that could have added a challenge, because that's the only reason you really need a Divine Beast is for the powers. Like Ganon was hard. I beat him twice. Or I beat him more than twice, but beating him twice wasn't hard. So if he just had double.
Ganon was very easy. I beat him 4 times, I believe.
Yeah, I've beat Ganon so many times. And so that brings us to the next part, which is the fight with Ganon.
The first time is intense because for me personally, I didn't know what to do when he went on fire.
Yeah. Well, actually, I gotta thank you for knowing what to do. You told me what you need to do when Ganon lights himself on fire. So use Urbosa's Fury. For any who don't know.
You could also, but if you don't have Urbosa's Fury, you can also use Daruk's Protection.
Yeah.
If he hits you with Daruk's Protection,
then it bounces back at him. Yeah.
and also if he uses his knife thing, his Guardian's knife thing, and if he tries to attack you.
And then when he also does a vacuum attack thing,
yeah.
You can just toss a bomb at him. And and then Dark Beast Ganon didn't really like that. They could have done much better with that.
It's like the big conclusion after 100 years.
Yeah, it's really just
a way to end up the story.
It's an interactive cutscene.
Exactly.
That's really.
I've heard many say that as well.
It's an interactive cutscene. It's you kind of just shoot the guy a bunch. Not like good shooting a guy a bunch like in Call of Duty. It's kind of just aim the bow at him, release right trigger, and then you hit him. Right? It's It's not fun, but they could have done better, I think.
I agree.
I just think they weren't really focusing on the story though in the boss fight. I think they were focusing on having this giant open world, and that's what made the game so amazing.
Right. Now,
what was your opinion on the Dark Beast game?
Well, it felt epic, that's for sure. The visuals really gave it that.
They really focused on it. They really made it feel like, yeah, this is a giant fight. You know, it's like Pokemon Sword and Shield. They really tried to make it feel like when you go to a gym, it's like, yeah, this is a giant climactic battle to end things off. And it's like you kind of just press the button with the type advantage a bunch, and it's like, oh, you won, good for you.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not it's made to be really climactic, and then it's super easy.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't not like the Dark Beast Ganon fight. I thought it was pretty cool, but I think they could have done better.
Anything else to say about the Ganon fight?
No, I don't think that's anything on the Ganon fight. Next up, though, is the graphics.
Right. That nothing compares, in my opinion.
I think
for its time,
there's better graphics.
As the first game, first game of its console, it was a great way to push the sales, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Those visuals were one reason.
For the Nintendo Switch, yeah, the graphics, everything in that game, it was beautiful.
It seems better than some PS4 Pro games.
Yeah, PS4 Pro, that is very true. But I think personally that the graphics in that game were done really well, especially for the style of game, because that game isn't supposed to have a game like that isn't supposed to have like super realistic graphics. Red Dead Redemption 2 is supposed to be a very realistic game.
Right.
That's why you have very realistic graphics. But Legend of Zelda is a fantasy game.
I agree.
And so they can get away with that, and it really looks amazing with the cell shading they did. It makes it look very, very good, especially for the style they were going for. Right? And whenever you like, some of my best like pictures, I guess, from Breath of the Wild, where when you go to Lurelin Village at the sunset and you look out into the bay and the sun is setting, there's like a lens flare. That is like really, really great. It looks really very.
Some zombies
really,
here are trying to
really
get some
nice.
shade.
Yeah. It looks really, really nice with that lens flare, and the cell shading makes the game look amazing. If Nintendo made like a Nintendo Switch Pro console or something like that, which they said that they haven't had any plans for that in the next few years, but if they did, and it had like ray tracing, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild would be one of the most beautiful games I've ever played.
Right.
That brings us on to our next point, which is the DLC. I really liked the way they handled the DLC. How did you think?
It was a great expansion. Yeah. You got a lot for your buck, in my opinion.
Yeah, for $25, you didn't get a new legendary skin or a new gun skin or something like that, like in other games, Fortnite. But you actually got like an entire new, almost half of the game. And
right.
I thought that was like, it was a really good deal. A lot of people are like, yeah, but the Champion's Ballad wasn't that good. But it's like, yeah, well, would you rather spend that much money on just a cosmetic item? Like, that's another probably 15-20 hours of gameplay, depending on how much you do of it. Like, if you beat Mazcotia and you, like, do everything, and not just beat Mazcotia, but get all the collectibles and stuff, that's probably another 20 hours of gameplay right there. Right, and for $10, that's pretty good. Right, like, and then for $25, you get Season Pass,
right,
which includes Trial of the Sword. I have not beat Trial of the Sword yet.
I have.
But yes, you have, Steve.
Yes,
so,
and I think that it took me a while, but once I did beat Trial of the Sword, it felt really good. Getting that powered up Master Sword, it makes you feel good.
Yeah, I haven't beat Trial of the Sword yet. I've got quite a few of the collectibles from Trial of the Sword. But yeah, if you wanted a hard DLC for a game, Trial of the Sword is the one you want to buy. It is not easy. Like, Champion's Ballad felt relatively easy, but Trial of the Sword was like really hard.
Right.
I haven't even. Like, farthest I've got is the Hinox on the first Trials. So like, yeah, it's hard. And like, remember, I have over 200 hours on Breath of the Wild, so it's not like I'm just not good at the game. Like, I've played a lot of that game.
Now, some of you may be wondering, not really necessarily how, but why me, who mainly plays Minecraft on my main channel, is talking about Breath of the Wild, of all things. And that's because on my gaming channel, I'm not going to be limited like my main channel is. This gaming channel is going to be a way for me to branch out and be able to play games I normally wouldn't be able to play on my main channel, as that's not really the style of my main channel. So I wanted a way to play the games I love and be able to post them without it feeling awkward. And so on this gaming channel, I will be playing with Noah here, and is going to be content that you wouldn't normally see on my main channel. So that is one reason, and Breath of the Wild is of course going to be one of those games, and that is why I want to talk about it at the rate that we are.
Yeah, and well, my channel is more centered around gaming, but don't expect there to just be gaming. I will be putting out other content, mostly gaming content, but I will be putting out more reviews like this. I will be putting out my opinions on other things. I'll be just talking about other stuff, mostly about, like, not just gameplay anymore. It's gonna be stuff like that. I will be doing a playthrough of Breath of the Wild if I get a capture card,
right,
which I'm not planning on getting one for a while right now, but when I do, I will be doing gameplay of Breath of the Wild, so that is exciting for me. But Yeah. So, but I do. I will be playing through stuff on my PS4. So like, thinking of doing or I'm not thinking of it. I'm going to do a Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode playthrough,
Alright.
as well as a. I might do a GTA. Let me know in the comments if you think I should do a GTA 5 story playthrough. I didn't really like the GTA 5 story. It wasn't that good, but like, if you want to see me do a playthrough, I'll be happy to do that.
Well, that's all we have for you guys today. I really appreciate your time, Noah. Thanks for letting me in your video, and I appreciate your time being on my video, as this is going on both of our channels.
Yeah, so you can find a link to both of our channels as well in the description of the video.
And don't worry, it's not like copy and paste on both of our channels. Our own style to it, and the way that we post it. So don't. It's gonna come out differently on both channels, so you might want to check out both of our channels to see the different versions. So, welcome to the gaming channel for me,
and welcome back to my channel. If you are new and you're enjoying the content, subscribe. If you like the content, leave a like on the video, because that's always appreciated. If you didn't like the content, dislike it. I don't care. I don't get ads yet, so I don't really care about my click-through rating. But like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, just let me know what you think. If you want me to do a GTA 5 playthrough, leave your opinion in the comments. I will have a poll at the top right of the screen, if post-production me remembers to do that. Please do that. Yeah, thank you for watching.
And thank you for watching mine. Don't forget to subscribe to the gaming channel, as more content like this will be coming. Now, I will go back to my main channel, upload another Steve Talks comedy, and I'll see you there. See you later.